Hello and welcome to My Finance Teacher on YouTube. Today is 26th of April 2017. Let's have a look at what gold has been doing and what is it going to do in the short term as well as in the medium term. So over the last 3 days gold has been going down, as you see on the daily chart in front of you. Now recently we have visited overbought levels on the 10-day RSI, and at the moment the RSI is near neutral territory and pointing downwards, which means that we might see gold continuing its downward momentum. Now another indicator that gold might continue down for at least another few days, maybe a couple of weeks, is shown by these shorter cycles that are embedded within the longer half-a-year gold cycle. These shorter cycles within this half-a-year cycle so far have lasted for about 1.5 months, and since the previous short-term cycle low, about the same period has already passed. So we are in the time band for this short-term cycle to move towards its cycle low. Additionally, since this gold rally starting in December last year, this half-a-year cycle has already progressed through 4.5 months. And since these cycles last for about 6 months, again we are in the time band for the cycle to have topped and for the cycle to turn down into its declining phase. So another indication that gold might be showing weakness into the coming weeks, not only over the last 3 days, is that gold has dropped over the last 3 days together with the dollar. In front of you is a daily chart of US dollar. Generally gold and dollar move in opposite directions. However, dollar has been moving down over the last couple of days, with gold also moving down over the last 3 days. Of course, 2 and 3 days is not a huge indication, it's not much of an observation. However, it might point to the weakness in gold. Additionally, dollar is now becoming oversold, and if dollar is about to bounce upwards over the next several days, over the next week probably, then gold might show some additional weakness, again as we mentioned, which all points downwards in terms of price of gold. One of the possible reasons for dollar to turn up over the next week or so is that in early May in US there will be a couple of important announcements. One on the FOMC meeting, and this is going to be on the 3rd of May, and another is on the 5th of May, the employment report announcement. Either of those, if positive, might turn dollar up and might strengthen this downward movement in gold. Now, having established this high possibility for the downward movement in gold, let's see what are the possible scenarios. On this daily chart of gold, we're back to the daily chart of gold, there seems to be a support level just under the price of 1250. If that is the case, then gold might bounce up from that level over a short term before it continues this downward momentum, before it continues this declining phase. However, there is another support level slightly lower at around the price level of 1200. So another possibility, another scenario for the price of gold to take is to ignore this less obvious support level at 1250 and move all the way down close to 1200. After that, the short-term cycle will reach its low, or might reach its low, and the new short-term cycle will start, providing this bounce in the gold price up to probably now the resistance level of around 1250. And after this bounce, again, gold is going to continue its declining phase of this half-a-year cycle. So this is a daily chart. Let's have a look at the weekly chart, which is in front of you at the moment. And on the weekly chart, we see that the support level around 1200 is much more clearly visible than any support level around 1250. So this support level is more obvious. Additionally, on the weekly chart, we see that the RSI, this is a 10-week RSI, has come close to overbought levels and is also pointing downwards. Now, the medium-term scenario for gold, having talked about the daily chart, now on the weekly chart, what do we see in the medium term? Is gold is probably trying to gather some strength within this triangle shape formed by the uptrend connecting the previous two cycle lows. Actually, it's not previous two cycle lows. However, previous two major cycle lows on the lower part of this triangle, and the upper part of this triangle is the downtrend line of the previous half-a-year cycle. We've broken out of this upper range for about a week. However, we didn't move much higher than this upper boundary. Now, as I mentioned, I expect gold to move down within this short-term cycle. I'm not sure if this cycle will be long enough for gold to reach the levels of 1200. It might bottom, this short-term cycle might bottom at the price level of around 1220, have a short-term bounce to about 1250, 1275 maybe even, and continue the declining phase of this half-a-year cycle until it reaches this support zone, probably at around 1170, 1180, 1160. And after that, when the new half-a-year cycle starts, I expect gold to really have some strong momentum upwards. So this is my expectation for the performance of gold over the next short-term and medium term. Remember, this is not investment advice. However, I do wish you luck. Thank you for your attention.